Hey everybody, Pokemon Trainer Solar coming to you guys with another Pokemon Sword and Shield Wi-Fi battle. This time it's a viewer battle against Mike from my Discord. So, we'll be doing, a typical, well, it was supposed to be a fun battle, except I brought a Trick Room team. And, yeah, so it's going to be a little different with the whole post-com, which I'm not used to. So as you guys could see, you guys could clearly say I have a Trick Room team. And we were going by Smogon rules, like nothing over OU. And I was like looking at the Pokemon that were available for Trick Room, and I'm like, Stakataka, Glastrier, they're all available. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try out these Pokemon. So I brought them into this battle. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was gonna happen. All I thought was, you know what? I'm gonna try out a Trick Room team. I've yet to try out a Trick Room team in this game. I used to use Trick Room a lot back in Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. But I haven't really used it in Sword and Shield. So I was like, you know what, it's about time. And my issue with like a lot of battles in this game is timer stall. If somebody starts to lose, or they lose a strategy but they have more Pokemon than you, then they'll just literally wait the full minute every turn they get, which means it would only take a max of 20 turns. So anyways, I brought Jim the Appleton, Melmetal, Stakataka, Stakataka, In and Out the Golisopod, Witch Trials, the Hatterene, and Lucajin, the Glastrier. And we all know who Lucajin is, right? Yeah, Horse Mama. That she calls herself, I guess. Everyone calls her. It kind of, like, is on the cusp of being bestiality, but whatever. And he brought Clefable, Gastrodon, Latias, Scizor, Salamence, and Swampert. I just want to call him Marshtomp because, back in my very first Wi-Fi battle ever was my Ratchet and Clank theme team, where I used Marshtomp to kind of like cause some rage quits. Now these videos will have a watermark. Sadly, there's really no good video editor program out there anymore because we don't have Windows Movie Maker, and that really kind of deters me from doing certain things. That's why most of my battles are like live comp. I don't have like $200 right now to spend on a video editing program, which, in my opinion, is just a wee bit expensive. Anyways, so Mike starts off with Swampert, and I'm obviously going to start off with my Trick Room Pokemon, Witch Trials. It's the only Pokemon on my team that actually carries Trick Room. I could have brought Carbink, but I don't have a Mental Herb right now. So obviously, I'm going to start off with the Trick Room. There's no doubt about it. Going for Trick Room is always the best idea when you use Trick Room. So he uses Flip Turn to get out of there. He does about a quarter of my health and damage, if not like a third, which was pretty cool to see Flip Turn. I actually only faced NPCs that have Flip Turn, so Mike is definitely the first one to use a Flip Turn Pokemon against me. So he brings out Scizor, which Scizor, is pretty much a hard counter to Hatterene. Though Hatterene does have Mystical Fire, and he wasn't predicting this. So I go for Mystical Fire. I was expecting, like Bullet Punch to KO me or something, like Adaptability Bullet Punch. I believe he has Adaptability. No. He has, the one that, like, increases 60 base power moves. 60 base power lower. What's it called? Persian has it and stuff, Scizor is really good with it, like Dual Wing Beat, Bullet Punch. The only issue is, there's not a lot of moves that go along with a lot of typings. But anyways, we did manage to KO the Scizor with Mystical Fire. He got a little salty after this match. Yeah, I know, because he was expecting a fun battle. And I thought this team wasn't going to work because I only had one Trick Room Pokemon. And I was like, well, if I only have one Trick Room Pokemon. Now, I switch into Jim here, which you think would be a good switch in, right? Grass Dragon gets Water Ground type. Pfft, no doubt about it. So in comes Jim, my shiny Appleton. The only thing that really changes is this little hat. And he has Mirror Coat, and I'm like, oh, okay, that would have wrecked my Pokemon. So I go for Apple Acid. I'm like, oh, this should one-shot it, right? I'm slower. Like, all my Pokemon have, like, no Speed EVs. They don't have any Speed IVs. And I go for Apple Acid, but then it lived, because I forgot. I'm not max special attack. Sure, we get the special defense drop, which is guaranteed. That's beautiful. But then the Mirror Coat's able to one-shot us. So, I've yet to use an Appleton that actually does anything in a battle. It did have a berry, but being one-shot, it doesn't really get off that berry. So then I'm kind of thinking, well, who do I want to bring in against this Pokemon? And I'm like, you know what? Stakataka should be able to survive a physical move. He is also a Assault Vest. He's max attack, max defense, no speed, assault vest, beast boost in defense. I'm like, okay, we should be able to beat him. So I just straight up go for the Earthquake, which will KO it from this range, because Takataka, remember, has really good attack and defense, but the rest of his stats are a little underwhelming. It's kind of like Blacephalon is all speed and special attack, but then its HP, attack, and special defense are all just terrible. Cortana's the same way, very fragile special-wise, but extremely fast on offense. It's like a bulky Deoxys, essentially. It's like Deoxys defense with Deoxys attack all in one, which is kind of insane, well, except for the special defensive part. Anyways, Mike's trying to figure out which Pokemon he's going to use, and he sends out the Gastrodon, and I'm like, oh, great, Gastrodon. One of the only Pokemon on his team that could actually outslow me. And I'm like, you know what? I should probably switch. And I'm like, well, who do I want to switch into? So I'm like, I'm not going to switch. I'm just going to go for an Earthquake, get off as much damage as possible. Sure, we don't get an attack boost, but we do a solid bit of damage. Gastrodon's extremely bulky. And then he goes for the counter. I'm like, oh, shnipe. And that did a lot. I'm down to like a third of my HP, and I'm just like, okay, now we're just going to go for the attack, but Skull just wrecks us. So, Stack-Tack-Toe didn't really do anything. It was nice to see Stack-Attacka on the playing field, though, because I've yet to see Stack-Attack. I've seen one or two Blacephalons. I haven't seen any Tapus used except for Coco. I'd like to see Bulu used. Oh, I seen Finny in VGC. Anyways, we have Witch Trials come back out, and I'm like, I gotta reset up the Trick Room. Though Gastrodon is extremely slow, which is an issue. And here's a weird question. Does Magic Bounce bounce back taunt? If it does, then I could see that being an issue with trying to stop Hatterene, giving it one of the best abilities as well as Trick Room. But anyways, we set up the Trick Room as he switches in Salamence. Salamence really can't, like, it can hurt us, but it can't really do too much. We also packed the Dazzling Gleam, you know, the 100 base, or 100 accuracy, 90 base power Fairy. Fairy moves honestly are overpowered, but it survives, and it goes for Wish, so that's why it's Japanese. It's one of those event Wish Salamence, which is kind of cool, which means you can't probably use it in BGC, because I'm pretty sure you'd have to, you know, battle ready it, and then it won't be able to use Wish anymore, because it's not in this game. Like, Wish is in this game, but not in this. So I go for the Psychic. We're gonna see how much that does against Gastrodon, and it did around the same amount of damage as Psychic. And I knew he was going to switch into Gastrodon when I seen Wish. I'm like, either he's going to go for a Protect, which would be kind of silly against a Pokemon that's super effective against him. He wouldn't gain back enough HP to actually survive the next Dazzling Gleam. But then he switches into Gastrodon. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty obvious. And then he goes for Recover, and I'm like, oh, great. Here comes the Recover Gastrodon. Honestly, Gastrodon is probably one of my favorite Pokemon, like defensive Pokemon. I hate using defensive Pokemon, but they've come in handy. Like, I've used VGC Corsola and stuff like that. So I'm going to go into In and Out, I believe, here. And In and Out really doesn't do anything in this battle. He's kind of more of like a priority in Trick Room with like Aqua Jet and First Impression. Only a few Pokemon get First Impression. I think more bugs should get it. And then we have our Room Service, which decreases our speed in Trick Room, which in turn makes us faster. But once Trick Room wears off, it's kind of a hassle. Now Gastrodon's back at the full HP, and the dimensions return to normal, which really sucks, because now I'm slower than Gastrodon, for sure. And I'm like, well, I gotta go for First Impression. There was a pop-up on my video for HP support, and then he gets the emergency exit, and then I'm like, oh, great. I have to send another Pokemon. Luckily, with emergency exit, though, you're allowed to send out whatever Pokemon you want. So I send out Lucajin, right? Our big beastie horse girl thing. Well, it's genderless, so you can't really say it's male or female, but you can make up whatever you want. So I'm just gonna go straight up for the Icicle Crash. It's a hard-hitting move, and we should naturally outspeed Gastrodon, because Glastrier is slow, but Gastrodon is literally a slug. So Gastrodon is a great user of Trick Room. And we don't get the flinch, but I don't believe he gets the burn with Scald either, which is like the first time in Sword and Shield where Scald didn't burn me. I think there's like maybe one or two other Wi-Fi battles where it didn't burn me, but it eventually burned me. So he's going to switch out and send out Jaden. which is his Clefable. I'm like, oh great, Clefable. I hate Clefable. But this is where things kind of get funny, because something happens that I didn't think would happen. And we do a solid amount of damage to Jaden. Also, we also carry the heavy slam for it. It will outspeed us because it is faster, so it's going to go for the soft wild. But now watch, just watch how much damage this heavy slam does. This is beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. And boom! Jaden just takes an immense hit and goes down to our heavy slam, which then Chilling Neigh activates, boosting our attack step. Honestly, when I looked at his team, I thought it would destroy me. I wasn't expecting Wish Salamence though. I get the whole point. It's a really fast Wish user, so even if it faints, it should be able to get off the Wish before it does. And then doing so, it can, you know, power up something else. So he has Intimidate, so he lowered our attack stats. We're back to neutral attack. And then so we're just gonna, he goes for the Hurricane. I don't remember if it confuses us or not. It doesn't. And then we miss the Icicle Crash though, which is really, really detrimental when using a Pokemon like this. So I'm just gonna go for the Heavy Slam. I'm like, I might as well get the 100% accuracy. Now he misses the Hurricane, and since Heavy Slam has 100% accuracy, we don't have to worry about it missing. And down goes the Salamence. Lucajin is just showing that it is a beastly little horse. And honestly, one of my favorite. I really do like Spectrier and Glastrier. I do not like the Shadow Rider or Ice Rider though. I think they're overpowered. I think they're stupid. I think that they're obviously the best Dynamax Pokemon out there. Also, one thing I will admit is I love the Blue Aura. So I'm just going to go for the Icicle Crash against Latios, pardon. It's going to go for Mystical Fire, which is going to lower my special attack. But I live. I live. I don't know how I lived, but I lived. And in turn activates my weakness policy, now giving us +3 in attack. And after we faint this Latios, we'll go up to +4. So it's looking like a game over for our boy here. Can we win, though? Can he pull out a trick out of his hat? I don't know. I think he's down to 1 Pokemon left. And can he pull it out? Luckily, he fights to the very end, though, determined to try and get this dub. And in comes Gastrodon, the ultimate slug. And his last Pokemon. Can we stop it? Can we use close combat for the victory? And we get in nice and close and punch that slug into oblivion. And with that, we beat our friend. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Join us on Discord where you can fight people like me, Mike, and Roll Call, and our new member, which I forget his name, but he joined. So if you guys really want to come join us, check it out. And I will see you guys next time for another exciting Pokemon Sword and Shield Wi-Fi battle video. Bye-bye.